There's a few ways to find zeros. The first way to find a zero is we just look at a graph. And so here's two graphs provided. The first graph, we look at this parabola, which we have a vertex of here is a downward facing parabola. And we look where it crosses the x line. And it crosses the x line in two spots, here at -4 and 0. So what it tells us is that we have two zeros at -4. And we have another one at 0. So we can just look at this graph, and without even doing any math, we can check -4, 0, they cross the line, we're good. The same down here at this one. So this has two zeros here, two zeros. We look at this graph to the bottom right, and we see that it touches this x line at 2 right here. And so this tells us that there is one zero here. And this 1, 0 is at 2. And if we knew the quadratic function, we could put it in there and we could figure out, make sure it comes out to 0. You can also have a graph in which the parabola could be like all the way up here, and you could have no zeros or 0 zeros, if you will. And so there's a few ways we can look here and find out of zeros. One of the easiest ways is look at the graph. If it crosses the x line twice, it has two zeros. If it crosses the x line or touches the x line once, it has 1 0. If it doesn't cross at all or touch at all, it has 0. So there's three options here. You can have two zeros, you can have 1 0, or you can have 0 zeros. And that's all a possibility. Now we're going to look at the next step of another way to find zeros. Another way to find out how many zeros are going to be is we look at where the vertex is. We have one graph here, and we have a vertex right here, which is on the x-axis. And since it's already on the x-axis, this is going to tell us that we have 1 0. We know we're going to have 1 0 because the parabola is opening on the axis. That's going to tell us there's one axis. Where we go down here to the bottom one, we have a vertex down here, which is our line of symmetry, which cuts the parabola in half. Our line of symmetry, our vertex, is not on the x-coordinate. And so, for example, like this one opening up, we have a vertex of 3 at 3, 1, -1. And we can see that, all right, we're right here. This is south or below the x-axis, which is here. It's opening up, so it's going to have to cross the x in two spots. Right here is one. Right here is the other. That gives us 2 zeros. And then we look at where they're at, so we know one's going to be at x equals 2 and x equals 4. Sorry for the crazy drawing here. That should be a 2. But we can tell that we have two zeros, 2 and 4. And so that'll be a way to figure out how many zeros we have by looking at where the vertex is. And the vertex is off the line and it's going to cross it. It'll have to cross it twice. Or the vertex is on the line. It'll only cross it once because it's already on the line.